Oh, hello. Hi. Welcome to another episode of The Dream Machine. I am Mark. This is Ravi, and today we have
Dr. Vick with us from Strive for Health Clinic and iPraktice.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, Dr. Vick.
Welcome to have you.
Thank you.
So, Dr. Vick, just to get started, we would love to know a little bit of history of how you became a chiro, and we were discussing this earlier that you were trained in Sri Lanka and a few other countries and so on. I would love to understand how you basically got involved in the current chiro business, as well as what took you from chiro to a software business.
Well, initially I was going to be a medical practitioner, and I discovered chiropractic through my father, who had an accident. I went in to a couple of consults with him, and I thought, oh my goodness, this is amazing. They actually get to the root cause of the problem. They treat it straight away rather than having to spend time in months of investigation and where people suffer. So that changed my whole concept of healthcare. So I went and studied chiropractic, and I started practice in 1978, in November 1978. And I worked with another chiropractor, and that's probably the best way to start these type of professions, working under the mentorship of somebody else. And he was a good mentor. He taught me lots of things about practice management and building. And one of the things I noticed is that there was always this forever need of the receptionist to waste time in writing out a receipt or typing out a receipt on the old typewriters and sending out invoices, and there was always these countless invoices that were being generated. And I said, there has to be a better way. Yeah. So that was 1978, and I worked with under that mentorship for 2 years in my own practice. So he was about 3.5 hours away from me, and every now and again we'll have a telephone chat about where I was failing and what things were going wrong. And if I found that a patient didn't appreciate my care, or I'd failed in the care, and I discovered where they went to another practitioner, I would often give that practitioner a ring, say, how could I do my job better? Yeah. And that was my initial self-learning. Mm-hmm. Apart from the mentorship, and he had his own views. He was very old practitioner in comparison to me. I think he was about 65, and I was only, I think, about 22, 23 at the time. Yep. And he was good in his guidance, but he had his old methodology. So he had tapes that were pre-recorded and record players that were pre-recorded from 1950s that I listened to, 25 years down the track.
Oh, that's the original podcast, the OG of podcasts, right?
Yeah, the original podcast. Yeah. And you had to make your own interpretation what that audio was all about. Yeah? And the quality wasn't very good. There's always that scatter. Yeah.
I'm old enough to remember Linguaphone, where you would learn a language and it would ship you a suitcase full of cassette tapes.
Yeah.
And you
so that came later.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we today discovered the OG podcast. Yeah, today we discovered the OG of the podcast.
We had the reel-to-reel.
Oh yes, that's right. The open reels.
That's right.
So basically, after learning from that practitioner about running the practice,
I went into my own practice. I set up another practice about 20 kilometres from that original practice, and I very quickly realised that there was a fallacy in that whole technology of way of doing things. Paper is great, but I found after some time that I wasn't earning as much money as I thought I was. We were doing a lot of work cover type things. It wasn't called work cover back then, but it was related to work care injuries. Yep. And I started getting a lot of car accident victims coming to see me as well. And I took the side of the patient because I saw how much they were suffering, and they were doing what my dad did, going from one specialist to another specialist and thinking they were the ants pants of knowledge, and yet they didn't know.
Getting better, were they?
They weren't getting better. They had horrific surgeries that maimed them for life.
Yes.
They had other methodologies like cortisone therapies that went absolutely crazy in their dosages, that totally destroyed their bone structures and
their ligament structures and everything.
Yeah, that's right. And caused metabolic disease that they didn't understand back then. It only became a recent thing of understanding.
Yep.
So medicine was supposedly evidence-based. It wasn't a word that we used back then, but it was supposedly evidence-based, but created a lot of problems. It was actually trial and error. Every practitioner had their own methodology of the way to treat things, which ranged from minimalistic or very aggressive and traumatic in their approach.
Yep. Well, on a scale of leech to antibiotics, right? What scale are we on?
Well, leech was actually better in many ways. So I was dealing with these work cover type patients and injury, traffic injury and other personal injury type responses, and I found solicitors were constantly writing me letters asking me for information about it and requesting that I attend court cases, and so I had to do longhand record writing and longhand reports for them. And that was okay, but it took a lot of time. Generated a lot of time. So my brother graduated, my two brothers graduated from Melbourne University with honours degrees one in electrical engineering, the other one in electronic engineering. And electronic engineering, this is going back again around the same period, 1978. He was very good in the initial stages of programming, where he had these long bits of cardboard paper and he had punch hole things, and he developed all these programs for pre-Telstra telecom, Postmaster General era. And so he was developing all these programs for the telecommunication industry. And I said to him one day, I said, look, listen, I need a program. Is it possible for you to write a program? And so 1980, when I moved into my own practice, 1980, they Osborne developed a compact computer, and developed their portable computer, and Compaq also developed their computer. So we went for the compact computer, which weighed 35 kilos, which was supposed to be a portable computer. Had these, I think they were, if I remember correctly, it was the 5 1/4. Maybe it was the bigger size. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But we went down to the 5 1/4, which had about 3 kilobytes of memory on it.
The little floppy disks.
Yeah, little floppy. That's right. And he said, sure, I can. He said, there's this new computer out. It's really high tech, and and he said, what would you like me to do? I said, well, first I want you developing a receipting process, and that I can actually record the types of treatment I was giving, and the type of and the consultations I was giving, and be able to bill that patient then and there, issue receipt, automated with a dot matrix, which we so we had this very expensive compact or Aussie-born machine and their dot matrix printer. It was like nobody had that. Nobody in the health industry in 1980s had that. So I think I was one of the first, if not the first, in Australia.
So you created your own database almost. That's what it was, wasn't it?
OG medtech software or health tech software creator.
Cool. So every patient that came in became indexed. And we developed their name, address, and telephone number, date of birth, and all that information got recorded onto a receipt with our own logo at the time that he was able to create. And with our own registration codes, whatever they might have been at the time.
Never had to buy any more carbon paper, did you?
We bought a lot of ribbons.
Yes.
So ribbons were used to type out the dot matrix onto the receipt.
Yes.
And then we developed our own recording style through our printer with our paper supplier. And so we just went through reams and reams of this scrolled up thing. And then from there, we developed it really well. And that worked precisely. It was fantastic. So much so that I was able to very quickly go into the fastest growing practice in Australia.
So that's going to be my question, right? Like, how much time did you actually? I'm sure you had to look at your before and after numbers. What was the improvement in terms of efficiency or time? Did you?
Oh, it was immense.
Yeah.
Because I worked long shifts, but I went from seeing 15, 20 patients a day to very quickly going up to 100 patients a day.
Yeah, right. Oh.
Yeah. So that's
5x increase in the
5x increase in the space of about 3 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
More than justify the investment, didn't it?
So that was a phenomenal increase in such a short period of time.
Yep.
And it went further than that. So I then started hiring other chiropractors and other doctors to work with me.
Yep.
So I had a medical doctor that worked, and we kept on developing the program. And then because I needed this report for the insurance industry and for lawyers and for the courts, I then started developing a program that identified my examination and my summaries and conclusions. And it was like fill-in codes. You got the ampersand in the front with the missing word, what it would need to be, and there was a choice of that. And then very quickly I could do a 20-minute to a 3/4 an hour consultation examination, whatever the case needed, and I could spit out a report in the space of 20 minutes.
Makes sense. Because once you've got the syntax sorted, and you know what your variables are.
Yeah.
It's genius.
So I developed that process, and it was unique in legal cases. So as lawyers would get a 25-page report.
Yep. It was precise. It was
precise.
clear. Yeah, fantastic.
And the outcomes were clear. The disabilities were clear. Everything was clear about the patient's case. And lawyers had never experienced anything like that.
And it wasn't in illegible doctor's handwriting.
No, that's right. That's exactly right. Or errors done by a typist.
Yes.
So everything was perfect, except the dot matrix wasn't perfect in the printout, but it was good for the time.
Yep.
And
So what happened next? Like let's say that evolution. I think if you would have sold that software alone to other clinics.
That would have been, I should have done that.
Yeah.
Who knows, it might have been Bill Gates or who knows, Elon Musk.
You charged him $5 a month. Thank you very much.
Well, I had the opportunity of doing it, but I wasn't clever enough I was more interested in patient care.
Yes.
And my philosophy was to improve my patient outcomes. So I was using these extra tools I was developing, as genius as they might have been at the time, to enhance what I was doing with my patients.
Okay, so from that point of view, I think we were having a discussion in a few weeks ago with another guest of ours, and we were discussing that how complicated the Australian patient care or medical care is all about, right?
Reporting
the reporting requirement as well as the Medicare processes, and how do you get paid for all of that?
Once you take the king's shilling, right?
Yeah.
Once you take the king's shilling, you're liable.
Yes.
Well, that government healthcare has changed and evolved over the years, and as efficient and as great as it is, it became a huge elephant that we had to carry along the way.
Yeah.
So it became more complicated.
Yes.
So the more complicated it became, the more software we needed, and so I then started developing other programs. It got to the point that my brothers, I inspired over the course of the last 45 years has it been, in 46 years of being in healthcare industry. I've now had something like I think it's about 51 patients now who've become practitioners. As chiropractors. But I've also had probably another 30 who've become osteopaths. I've had dozens who've become medical doctors. And so I've inspired this whole following of people along the way. And with that, it became a learning of what I did as a practitioner, because everything had to be recorded better, not just hand notes. So initially we were on a card system, and my card system I kept on refining it and developing. Every year there was an addition or a change or a deletion of something to make it more effective and more efficient. So I can walk into a room and say, "Hi Mark, I know exactly what your problem is because my card was totally summarised and I knew exactly where I was going in the flow." And in some ways, that's still a better system in some ways.
Yeah.
So we're still enhancing the software to meet that standard that we developed. So from using that system and the so I developed another software, and then I found that company wasn't able to help me. They were grossly expensive and they weren't able to lead me along the right path. They were too slow. Then I found another company and they did the same thing and they developed a better process, especially with my appointment book and my receipting side. And then I developed another company in the software we're talking about. And then we started developing the note taking, and it just progressed. So all in all, then the Victorian University discovered me through patients, I presume. And they said, we want you to be a mentor to our computer software engineers and programmers.
And help them understand the use case.
Can they come in and just be like interns and just like learn how you use it? And they did, and they were kind of blown away with what I'd been doing already. They say, can we now use your clinic as a trial base to develop programs? So we then went from, we started developing new programs with the Victoria University. And
in a live environment as well.
In a live environment. But I found what I was doing, I was actually tutoring these...
Oh, your competitors?
No. Well, maybe.
Okay. Right.
Who knows? Maybe that's the case too. But I was tutoring these software engineers to develop programs for me, but there was a lot of mistakes in that area.
Of course.
It was a big learning curve for them. And so I end up developing 3 programs, which I found were as brilliant as those students were. They were very archaic in their approach. Because to take an idea from here, give it to a person who's got his own ideas about how things should go, to get to the end user doesn't equate. It's like, what just happened here? What just happened here?
I get that.
My brother, 25 years ago, because he knew what we were doing with my brothers and I, so two of my brothers became... That's right. So every day I was talking to my brother initially and refining it. But the software engineers, well, they became difficult to communicate with.
Some don't even speak human.
So anyway, so we worked along that way, and then more recently we hired a couple of different companies, 3 different companies, and I thought I could work with them. I actually outlined that I want to work with them. They said yes. And then I found that I was, again, just like the software engineers have passed with Victoria University, I found all these people from overseas, from America was one company, from Queensland was another company, from Victoria, a very famous company now in Melbourne. I was writing out documentation for them of what they needed to do. And they have now grown quite successful, multi-million-dollar companies. But they were still had an elephant that they were carrying in some of their design processes. So, and good luck to them that they've got those ideas. But now we're developing our own practice ideas with the program that we have, and which we call iPraktice.
So, going to a little bit more details on iPraktice. Obviously, iPraktice's journey started in 2016. First version came out in 2017, and I know that we tried to get your card system in there one or the other way. So in the last 8 to 9 years, what has evolved, what has changed in iPraktice, and how the practice currently runs using the software iPraktice?
Well, I think the big thing that's happened is that number one, Ravi, because of you, we've developed that communication link, and you've learnt by coming and experiencing firsthand what the clinic is like, and understanding the individuality of patients and doctors, individuality of different associate doctors, and knowing that you have to be flexible in the program to be able to cater for all their needs at the same time. and then move the patient efficiently through the clinic where they're not being used up by some archaic methodology that stops them from getting the appropriate healthcare that they need. And so we're now developing the program that helps to enhance the doctor's awareness of the patient's need. Where it's almost like having a second specialist or 2 or 3 specialists on the shoulder of the doctor, advising, helping the doctor. That's where we're going. That leads the patient to a better health outcome.
Yeah, that would be like the perfect world we live in. Absolutely. Where everybody adopts the same methodology and process, and then basically they are navigating through the complicated medical architecture of Australia and achieving the best outcome, right? That would be the ideal thing, right? That everybody gets the best outcome.
And being very evidence-based and proactive in the scientific outcome of developing healthcare, because healthcare is still evolving. 100%. You know, there's literally thousands of research papers that are delivered to the healthcare industry every year. And to try to get through that information and develop something that's useful for the patient.
Well, it has to be sift through, and it has there's a whole process.
Well, the normal methodology is decades in the making. Even currently, it's decades in the making. And unfortunately, we've got Google Health, or the Google Doctor, and other internet doctors that summarize information, but it gives the wrong information and can lead to bad outcomes for patients. So we want to try to help that process of what's happening in that computerized generated understanding of healthcare and bring it to the patient level through an intelligent person, and not just by having a computer, but having the computer help the process.
100%. I mean, my understanding of, see, this is where the understanding of any practice or any operational model, you have a dichotomous requirements, isn't it? You have the professional side of things where the doctor is being a doctor, being a physician, and then the other side of that, he's got to be an administrator as well. You know, if I was a doctor and I went to school to be a doctor, I didn't go to school to be an administrator. So now I've got one arm tied behind my back. You've solved that with iPraktice.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Now, that's exactly what happens. Most practitioners who are successful, they become administrator of a clinic or a hospital or a group of clinics.
And they don't practice anymore. It's like teachers, same thing, right? You know, they wind up not teaching.
Well, they do teach. So there are some associates will require the mentorship still, but they're now teaching, just like my mentor was teaching me from previous 20, 30 years by tape. They're still doing the same program taping in their brain by what they say to the mentor.
So it's very analog, isn't it? It's analog, it's in series, it's,
well, it's a little bit on the archaic side.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So we're evolving in the knowledge base very quickly, but the information that mentorship often delivers is still prehistoric in comparison, because we're generating so much information so quickly.
So if I would be living in the world of science fiction, let's say everything that we say over here will become a reality. What will be the ideal process going forward looks like, that from a systemization point of view?
You know, I've got an image in my mind which was very futuristic when it was made. You have the Dr. Spock in Star Trek, he talks to his computer system, and he's got his evaluation, which is like superhuman, and then you have the supercomputer that he talks to that makes a diagnosis, a treatment, and all of a sudden within the space of an hour or two or a day, the person's recovered from a major illness. That would be amazing. It would be like miraculous in some ways.
And if we break it down into smaller steps, right? Let's say, again, the complication of the entire medical system right now is that you have to go to a GP. Now GP says, okay, maybe you have this problem, you need to go to a specialist. And when you go to the specialist, they might say, you've been sent to me incorrectly, you might have to go to another specialist. Or the thing, there is obviously a world of Google that we can basically, hey, this is what I'm feeling, and then Google will give you wrong advice. So in my head, the ideal world that I'm looking at is I go to any practitioner who's close to me or wherever they are, and then I give them that this is my problem, and then basically they can say, okay, I think you need to go to this type of specialist, right? And once you reach that specialist, they have history of all your past information and so on.
Yep.
And they're not sitting there writing notes and doing other things. They're having a conversation.
Yeah.
They're having a conversation with the patients to understand the need of that patient.
Yep.
System around them is doing all the recording and making sure that it is all recorded, summarized for them, and everything is ready to go in whether we require government reporting, whether we require legal reporting, and so on. And then we basically have a process of checking on patient that, hey, can you tell us how are you feeling, right? And I think that's where we are taking iPraktice right now. If we are...
Well, the empathy approach would be very different if you could just simply say to a patient, how are you feeling, having a little chat, and having a system that helps you in diagnosing the patient during that chat.
With up-to-date information.
With up-to-date and with efficiency.
Yeah.
So, and that's a whole encyclopedia of understanding that effectiveness and efficiency of a practice.
Absolutely.
Like I know I've been to many general practitioners, medical practitioners, and other professional allied health practitioners. You go into the room, you take down a history that you write down, or nowadays a lot of them have got some type of computer tab that you fill out the information, then you sit and wait. The doctor then comes out to you and says, okay, Victor, would you like to come in? And he greets you. Now, that time that he took from coming into your room, where you are in the waiting room, and it is a waiting room, and then going into that room, that's wasted time.
Yes.
For the doctor and for the patient. Yeah. For him to sit down there in the reception room and fill out a note, that's wasted time. Yeah. These are all ineffective, inefficient contributions that we've generated over the years. Initially, the doctor would stay in his room, and then either a PA system or the receptionist would say, go down to that room. You go into the room, take a number, you go into the room, you wait half an hour, then the doctor might come and see you. And our hospital systems are still like that.
Totally archaic.
And a lot of GP clinics are like that. Many GP, the doctor walks from the back somewhere in the some cave that he's sitting in, walks up, spends a minute walking up, chatting to another doctor along the way, or a receptionist or another patient, being distracted, then calls a patient. And meanwhile, patients are waiting for an hour and a half, 2 hours in the reception room. And then they're demanding more money. To say, oh, we want more money. Well, hold on, wait a second. If you saw more patients,
you wouldn't need them.
You wouldn't need it. If you saw them more effectively,
You wouldn't need it.
you wouldn't need it.
So basically, I heard a story. A friend of mine was not feeling well. They went to emergency room. 3 hours of waiting, and after that, he was like, "I'm feeling fine now. Let's go."
Why wait anymore? How much longer am I going to wait here? Am I going to be cured by someone?
I feel I am cured waiting.
Great. I feel this is amazing waiting room.
Yes. Whatever is in this air of this waiting room, I'm fine now.
Well, COVID has helped out with that. You go into the waiting room, you've now got 100 people waiting there.
With all coughing, you pick something up and bring it home.
You know what? I was healthier before I came here.
So, Dr. Vick, just to close off the podcast, I would love to basically summarize the journey, and I think I would love to ask you this final question is, how would you tell the future generation to think about building good processes, building systems in whatever business they are running, and what are the benefits of it?
You know, doesn't matter what business you are, face-to-face communication, empathy for the other person, trying to live their experience a little bit, and trying to get that understanding is always a better way for me to develop that relationship. And if you've got a relationship with a person, they're going to speak favourably about you, to other people. Not always, but they, in the sense that they may not pass that information on, but they're going to talk about you, about their health experience. They'll talk about you in preference to somebody else or some other methodology. Whereas if something bad happens, they're going to tell everybody about you. Whether you like it or not, they're going to tell everybody, So the communication side is absolutely vital, and having a system like a software communication system that we've been developing helps in that empathy, relationship, rapport building with my patients. So they speak, tell other people about you, and you end up getting inundated with the business that you're in.
Yes,
It might be.
Yeah, I mean, I learned something a lot. I learned a lot today in terms of the iPraktice model.
Yep.
Because to me, human learning, human systems and learning is a big thing. It was a very fundamental learning experience for me when I was my first organizational experience, and the beautiful thing about iPraktice is it reduces the administrative load, which then frees up time for you to get better at your craft.
Absolutely.
So you by reducing the amount of paperwork that people do, you give them time to learn to be better operators, better doctors, better teachers, better whatever.
Absolutely.
You know, that's fantastic, and that's
right.
that's the promise of technology, isn't it?
And that's our model.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I love it. Love it.
Yeah, that's our model.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Vick. Thank you for coming
Yeah,
and
thank you.
talking
Thank you so much, sir.
talking to us about the entire iPraktice and the clinic, and let's make the healthcare better in Australia.
100%.
Thank you.
100%.
Thank you.